Hi, I'm Craig Rosevear, and welcome to the show that answers the number one question in real estate: how's the market? I'm here right now with industry insider Jerry Ferris. Jerry, welcome to the show.
Hey, this is so great and such an honor, Craig. I love being here. And what a great question.
You know, Jerry, a lot of people want to know what's happening with the market. They would like to know the great buys, what to do as a buyer, what to do as a seller. What's exciting you the most about the market right now?
I think there's plenty of opportunity right now. I think that when people ask, how is the market? I love to ask them, which market are you referring to? You know, I've been in the business for about 10 years now. I've seen both sides of the deal, from the commercial side to the residential side. We have a partner in a title company, so I get to see what agents are doing now. But I like to ask, how is the market, to the client who's asking me, meaning that, where do you want to be? You know, how is the market? I want to live by the beach. You're here now in Australia.
I'm Australian, but we're actually in the Hollywood Hills, which is right behind us. So, yeah.
What a great view, and I love this, but we're not in Australia. We're in Hollywood. I should know my own market, shouldn't I?
But hello to all our Australian viewers out there too, Jerry.
Yes,
So
I love Australia.
Jerry does have a fan base in Australia, both for real estate and his previous incantation, his previous career as a professional
Rose collector.
Exactly. That's for another podcast. So
Yeah.
anyway.
We'll change that. What I like to say is, like, you wouldn't plan a day at the beach based on a national weather forecast. Meaning, let's talk specifically. You want to live by the beach, but what beach? The beaches here in Malibu are vastly different than they are in Venice and Newport Beach. So let's talk about those markets specifically. So what you want to do is find a local agent, somebody who's an expert in that particular area. So maybe the Malibu expert's going to say the market's not that great, but that's not the market you're looking to be in. You're looking to be in Newport Beach, Manhattan Beach, great school districts, and all of that. So find a local expert there.
I couldn't agree more. The macro market is so different to the micro market. The market for a particular neighborhood might be different to the market in a particular street of that neighborhood. You know, and how close are you to a school zone? How close are you to the shops and cafes? So these are all very important things. Now, what is probably your most favorite market? I know that Beverly Grove is definitely one that you have an affinity with. Tell us a little bit about where that is and what the market's like there.
I'm a huge fan of Beverly Grove. It's literally it's located where it's called. There is the Beverly Center, which is a huge shopping center here in Los Angeles, and then there's the Grove, which was it's a tourist attraction. It's also a great shopping center. So there's a great pocket, 90048, located right there in between La Cienega and we'll say Fairfax, and Melrose and Beverly. And I really love that market because there are opportunities there to redevelop. There's new builds, and the housing prices have continuously grown over the last 10 to 12 years. So it's a really hot market. One of the top private schools in the country is in that little pocket. Great shopping centers, great restaurants. Huge fan of Beverly Grove.
It's fantastic there. You also got a great park there, Pan Pacific Park, which is so easy to get to, both for the kids and if you've got dogs, it's great there too. And for people who do have dogs, there's plenty around there as well, plenty of great pet shops. The Chateau Marmot is there.
Yeah, the Chateau Marmot is there. Yeah, look, if you're a dog lover, it's also a really great place to be. And as you mentioned, Pan Pacific, I mean, when the world shut down, that was our haven. We would go to Pan Pacific, you hike, you find a really great lunch spot. In fact, we have a lot of fun. We do an annual chili cook-off kickball tournament there in Pan Pacific, so I want you to come to the next one.
Lock me in right now. My mouth is watering. As soon as you said chili, yeah. I was there. So one great thing about Beverly Grove is just how central it is to everything that you're looking for in Los Angeles. And like Air One have set up, a shop there now, which is just indicative of just how hip this area is. But from a property perspective, Jerry, there's some really good entry-level purchasing there. $2.5 million for a single-level Spanish-style home. Really nice neighborhoods. Tell us a little bit about where you're seeing the specific value.
Well, there's tremendous value there, and I love those Spanish homes that have been converted a little bit more modern. But there's also homes that are a little dated. You can get a lot there. There's an opportunity there to redevelop. There's tons of opportunity. It's an aging population, so people are starting to sell or move out, reinvest that money into other areas. So Beverly Grove is fantastic to me. Like I really love that. I'm a little biased. We live in that community. Just to give you a little perspective, we bought the home in 2015. It is 2024, and last week I was offered almost double what I paid for back in 2015. So it's a hot market.
Yeah, it's definitely a market on the rise. And for those who maybe not as familiar with that particular pocket, as it's in Los Angeles, it's near the television studios, as you mentioned. You've got the Beverly Center, the Grove, the farmers markets. It's all walkable. And the thing is that it's really where the action's happening.
That's a great point. So CBS Studios is just walking distance from that little area. There is a huge development that's coming over there. There's an opportunity there it's going to be a mixed use. There'll be apartments and also retail. So that's elevating the value there. As I mentioned, great private school, but there are great elementary public schools that are also in that pocket too. So if you're looking to get into if you're looking to try to get into the real estate market, this is a great investment opportunity for you. Great starter homes are there for you and your family. And the best part, and if you're here in Los Angeles, you know the traffic is crazy. So you don't need to get on any of the freeways to get around and do what you need to do. We get on the freeways for the weekends. It's just a straight shot from here. You can almost see it from this. It is less than an hour to go to Big Bear Mountain, which is incredible. You go bike riding. During the summer you can go and fish in the lake. Wintertime there's great skiing. And then just that way, we're going to head west in 40 minutes, 35 minutes, depending on the day, you're on the ocean.
It is very bikeable. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm going to use it.
Bikeable. I like bikeable, yeah.
Because I actually rode my bicycle through Beverly Grove just on Monday. Yeah. It was so easy. It was vibrant. There was people in the cafes, a lot of street dining there. There was people lining up to some of the theaters. There's live theater there as well.
There's tons of life, and we're just outside of one of the hottest cities in the world. We're West Hollywood, where there's so much life and activity, and we're really 12 minutes away from Beverly Hills. And so if you're really into high-end shopping, we're 12 minutes from high-end shopping. And Melrose Place. I mean, great farmers markets on the weekends, and there's some really hip and trendy shops right there on Melrose. It's my favorite pocket.
So tell me if you agree with this, Jerry. I think the strategy, if you're wanting to get into Beverly Grove, is to get into one of those single-level Spanish-style homes that are maybe a little bit dated. The owners are a little bit older and wanting to downsize, have less moving parts for a property. Sit on that for a while, wait till you get some equity in the home, and then later you can do some big improvements or do a knockdown rebuild.
Yeah, Los Angeles in general has never seen more than 2 years back-to-back decline in value. We're in a really great market. I actually really anticipate prices rising due to what's coming. I mean, we've got the World Cup coming, we've got the Super Bowl coming back, and we have the Olympics coming in 2028. So people are looking to move to this town. It's only going to get hotter.
It's very exciting. So we've spoken about where the opportunities are for buyers in Beverly Grove. What about for sellers? What is my strategy to get the best price for my home if I'm, selling in Beverly Grove?
Look, if you have somebody that tells you they have the crystal ball, then don't hire that agent, right? They're probably lying to you. We don't have a crystal ball. You can only hope, and you kind of take a look at trends and see where things are going. I'm one of those people. We have a tremendous amount of equity in my house. We've also been waiting and watching the interest rates because in 2 years from now, we're going to have to make a move closer to where my son's next school is going to be. There are a lot of people in that predicament. So what do you do with that equity? What do you do with this? You also have to time it. When the interest rates come down, say they come down 1%, on average, that's going to be 5 million more buyers that you're going to be competing against. So don't miss out on that neighborhood or that pocket or that investment opportunity because you're waiting for the interest rate to come down. Refi. You can refi as often and as many times as you need to do. don't miss out on that just waiting for the interest rate to come down a little bit. So I guess my advice right now, I guess I should practice what I preach. What we're looking to do is the house has done what it should do for me. It's created value. So what we're going to do is take the money out of that property, and that'll be the down payment for the next property. And then we'll own this property outright, and that will be something where we lease, and that'll start to create some wealth for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And, having a large modern home like you do yourself, like that's the perfect opportunity to, leverage the value, leverage the equity that's happened over the last few years. And that's a big home for you and your family.
Yes.
You don't need all that size. So you can keep that home, use the equity as a deposit on the next, and that might be a condo for you.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Or we keep the home and take the equity out and buy that investment property, that condo, as you mentioned. So that's a viable option too. There are some really great pockets that are going on. I like Highland Park. I like I really like Lamert Park. I think that's Boyle Heights is another one. We just did a redevelopment opportunity over in Boyle Heights. I could not believe the amount of money and the demand for some of those properties too. So there's still some pockets, but we're talking about crazy numbers. I mean, where I grew up, I just can't even believe I'm saying that to get an entry-level home in LA, you need to have, I don't know, we're talking at least $2 million. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of money. But again, we keep looking at the forever home as the first home, right? Like people get so caught up in like, we don't do that anymore. On average, people live in their home for about 5 to 7 years. And so just get into the market. Stop making your landlord rich. That's 100% interest rate, right? You're giving them all of that money. Take that money if you can. Talk to a lender. We got some really great people in our office, and I work closely with some really great lenders that will help you figure out how to come up with that 5% down payment, that 10% down payment.
Yeah, okay, so there's a couple of things to unpack from that, which I'd like to go into a little bit more in detail. So first of all, don't just stand there waiting for something to happen. You need to get into the market now. It doesn't have to be your forever home. In fact, it doesn't even have to be the home you're going to live in. You can rent that out. You can, have that as an investment, and you can stay renting or live with your parents. Or this is for your first home buyers. There's a classic old saying. It's like, when's the best time to buy real estate? Well, it was 20 years ago. When's the second best time?
Right now. Right now. But if I could talk to my younger self, who did spend a lot of money on rent over the years, I lived in Manhattan, I live here in LA, and it's not cheap. Gosh, if I could have just figured out how to come up with a down payment for like a fourplex, let the other 3 tenants pay my rent, and over a period of time and build some equity in that property, use that to go buy my next property and have that be my investment. I mean, I just really wish and encourage young people to, if you're going to figure it out, you might not be in the neighborhood that you want, but now you're going to own something, and you're going to let other people pay your mortgage for you.
Absolutely. And the lens that you buy through the first home is different to the lens that you buy the second home, because you're going to be at a different stage of your life. The first home you might buy with you and your partner, no kids yet. Let's just get in the market. But the second home, you're sort of knowing a little bit more what you want. Maybe there's a kid on the way, and you're like, well, we want to be close to good schools. We want to be close to the shops. Those fundamentals of good schools, shops, walkability, transport, they never changed. They were the same 20 years ago, and that's what made those neighborhoods popular. So you can still buy in those same neighborhoods, or neighborhoods that have had infrastructure added to them to make them just like that.
Yeah, and you also just touched on something. Life events will continue to happen. There is a tremendous lack of inventory here in LA, and we keep hearing about that. And a lot of it has to do, people did refi, and they got 2.5%, less than 3%, and they're saying, what am I going to do now where I'm going to go buy a home and get into a 7-8% loan? Well, just because you refi doesn't mean you like your house anymore. So we're starting to find people that, I got a great rate, but man, I'm so sick of this house, or it's too big for me. Back to the life events. Things continue to happen. Death, divorce, diamonds. We call it the 3Ds, right? So that's engagements, people getting married, people are having babies, their families are expanding, people getting a job promotion, they're moving, people that lost their job, they're moving, or their office is just relocated to another city. So things are happening. So it's really imperative that you have a local agent that is just got their eye and their finger on the pulse as to what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that agent is someone who's connected with that area. There's no better agent than the area expert, especially for someone like yourself who actually lives and walks those streets. They're very useful. So definitely look to your area expert when you're looking for an agent, someone who understands the neighborhood, someone who's walking those streets, going to those cafes, and really has a deep understanding of those areas.
Can I just give you a little credit too? We talk about local experts. It doesn't mean that person has to be born and raised in that community. Craig over here from Australia arguably knows more about a lot of the pockets here in Beverly Hills and Los Angeles than a lot of qualified or so-called local experts. You put in the work. You ride your bike around. You're eating at different spots every single day, and the market knowledge that you're gaining is so impressive. So I just want to give you a shout out for that.
Thanks very much, Jerry. It's very kind of you. But you're right. It's I get on my bike. I actually should add this to the YouTube channel, my bike tours, because there's no better way to get an up close experience of the streets, of the homes, of the parks, of the restaurants, of the cafes than cruising by on your bicycle. It's fantastic.
You also have such a unique perspective. You know, like we look at, as you mentioned, as our lives change, we look at things just a little bit differently. My needs when I first moved to LA, I lived up here in the Hollywood Hills, my first place. And I was staying with somebody else. And I thought I made it. Like, you open up the window and there's downtown LA. And then she said, well, it's time for you to get your own apartment. So I had to like go back down the hill a little bit. And then
you said, Mom, why are you kicking me out of home?
Yeah, kick me out. No, I'm not leaving. But I also realized, which is really interesting, I don't know what the stats are in this, but I moved here in January 2002, and I've only lived within a 2-mile radius of my very first place.
To tell you the truth, Jerry, as you know, I rode my bike through Beverly Grove just on Monday. I've driven through there countless times. I've gone to the parks, the restaurants, the cafes there. You don't really need it.
I don't have to go anywhere.
For your lifestyle, this is perfect for you, you know.
Done. That's it. You just saved me a tremendous amount of money.
It's so good there. So, guys, yeah, do a little bit of deep dive on Beverly Grove. You can also look at Mid-Wilshire, the Miracle Mile, and you can expand it a little bit more. Maybe Large Pond, you can go into Carthay Square, Carthay Circle, and then, you know, you really are only moments away from Beverly Hills, so you got some great pockets there. South Beverly Hills is very affordable, very similar to, I guess, what Beverly Grove is, but without as many shops. So
yeah, and find somebody that loves it. I love Beverly Grove. It has been so good to me, and I can tell you all the little secrets. I can talk about the neighbors. I can talk about I can talk about the crime. You know, in LA, there's if you watch the news, it's pretty bad, and so you need somebody that knows. I'm on different boards. I'm part of the neighborhood watch. I'm involved with local council people, so I can kind of tell you what's coming, what's being developed, and what they're doing about the issues that are really important to people who live in that community.
There's a high police presence in Beverly Grove. I know that for a fact because I see a lot of cops going through there, similar to Beverly Hills, because it's such I guess it is a vibrant area, but there's a lot of people on the streets walking at all times of day and night, and, you know, the fact is that it's active, so there's definitely a police presence there. So, you know, from a safety perspective, you know, it's definitely one of the safer neighborhoods generally.
Yeah, it's great. So again, I don't want to get into the other political issues with what's going on in LA. They seem to be fixing a lot of that stuff, but I feel very safe there.
So, Jerry, as you know, this podcast is called How's the Market? We answer the number one question in real estate. So if the market were a weather forecast, what do you see happening within the next 6 to 12 months?
I'm so excited about the next 6 to 12 months. I think it's sunshine. It's California. It's LA. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be 75 degrees and sunny. Will there be some cloudy mornings, some June gloom? Yeah, there'll be a little June gloom depending on where you live. But overall, I'm big on Los Angeles. I love it. And again, let's not talk about the forever home first. We can talk about the first home. Get into the market, get into real estate, and then we can help you grow and create generational wealth from there. But if you're already here and invested here and you already have a place, a lot of our clients do have second and third properties here in LA. And we can talk to you closely. We have a really dynamic team, smart people, smarter than me. But I do lean on them to get through the numbers with you, take the emotion out of it sometimes. So there's tremendous amount of opportunity in LA. So to me, sunshine, rainbows, next 6 to 12 months, bet on LA.
I couldn't agree more. We know the Fed telegraphing some interest rate cuts, and then from a global perspective, I think that's going to happen in a number of countries, which is very exciting. There's a lot of buyers right now circling. They're coming to the open homes. You know that they're just getting ready. They're measuring a few times before they cut, and once those interest rates are cut, they're going to jump in. So I think if you are a buyer right there now, would you rather be lined up at the restaurant that has 100 people or one that's got 20 so you can get in quicker? So that's definitely something to be considered of.
Just to give you a little insight from a title perspective. So our office works with 3,500 agents here in Southern California. And so I have some insight as to a lot of the deal flow and the opportunity that's happening. And what was really surprising to me was I took a look at the last year and the amount of home sales that happened compared to last year. There was only about 20 properties off, but overall we're not that down. It's not. We're actually kind of right on par where we think we should be. The interest rates just becomes a great headline. It's clickbait, and so that's what people are really caught up on, and the lack of inventory. But there really is a lot of deal flow. There's a lot of opportunity and access. Back to the access thing, I think it's so important that you work with an agent who has access. I get to see transactions that happen before anybody else does. We have a tremendous network of people that are sharing deals before they even get to the market. So again, not just a local expert, but an agent who has access to deals before everybody else does.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jerry. Now, Jerry Ferris, there's a lot of people out there that are going, how do I get to talk to Jerry? How do we get in contact with you?
A lot of people.
Well, maybe if
my mom doesn't even call me.
Maybe more after they see these episodes.
I'm on all the socials. You could just find me at Jerry Ferris on Instagram. That's the easiest one. And please feel free to DM me with any questions that I have. I mean, I'm a big fan of LA, but I'm also a big fan of educating people. If I can just share a quick story, man. My very first real estate transaction happened when I was 12 years old. Okay.
Wow.
And this is what's made me so passionate about this thing is that I was my parents' sign language interpreter for them when they were buying their first home, which was a big mistake. They paid for that lack of experience their entire life. Okay. So they had adult professionals negotiating their biggest transaction, and they had a 12-year-old interpreting the transaction. And that was irresponsible across the board. However, that affected my mom's purchasing power, and it really affected her financial well-being. But long story longer, like I am somebody that really believes in coming from a place of abundance, coming from a place of accessibility. So if you have any questions about it, yes, I would love to work with you. However, that's not going to stop me from putting you into the right direction.
Well, Jerry has always been known as a helper, as a supporter. He's great to connect buyers, to connect sellers, and connect agents to the right people. So yeah, Jerry is just there to help. And people say, who is this Jerry Ferris guy? And I'm like, he helps all of us. So yeah, definitely reach out to myself or Jerry. Yeah. You can do it through whatever you're watching this on now. Just message me. We're better put you in contact there with the man, the myth, the legend. That is Jerry Ferris.
I love that. Thank you so much, man.
So Jerry Ferris, how's the market?
The market's fantastic. And let's talk specifically about which market we're looking at. So again, we wouldn't go to the beach based on a national weather forecast. You need a local weatherman. So depending on that market that you're referring to, could be good, could be a little slow, could be a little ugly. But with all of that said, depending on what side of the table you're on, there's opportunity.
So Jerry Ferris, the man, the myth, the legends, thanks so much for joining us on How's the Market. Stay tuned for next time, guys. See you soon.
I love it. Thanks for your time and thanks for watching.